All right. Today I am joined with a guest. This is my friend Blue, and we're going to talk about going up in life. Now on to the intro.
Currently rocking in the school of life. He is here talking about stuff and whatever's going on in his brain. You know it is 100% Bridget!
All right, here I am. It's me talking about something. And today I got my friend here. His name's Blue. Wave at the people. There we go. I think we already did that, but we won't tell anybody. Oops, we've been seen.
I'll wave again.
All right. So I'm going to have you introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Tell us what you're all about. And then we'll get into whatever we have going on.
Yeah, awesome. So my name is Osbaldo Haros. I also go by Blue, as Richard said. And I focus on helping people discovering their purpose, living out the dream and the life that God has called them to live. Also in the area of finances as well, because everybody is born with a gift and a purpose, and I help people discover that and live that out.
Nice. Oh, wow. I like that. Just helping people discover it, because a lot of people don't even realize in all reality that they can do the things that they think they can do. You know, I'm just gonna we're gonna flow. So let's go. I realized I'm gonna put some stuff out there. You guys ready for this? All right, here we go. So I'm gonna put some stuff out there. I am not personally. I've always struggled with like entrepreneurship. So like I'll get this great idea in my head and I won't know how to function or get it to go. You know, or I'll get this great idea in my head. I'll get it to function. I'll get it to go, and then I'd sabotage it.
Oh,
okay. So like somewhere along the line, I'll be like, "Oh, I suck at this," when really I just right on the edge, you know, of seeing a breakthrough. You know? And so and that even comes like even with this podcast. I'll be honest. When I first started, the first year I was like, "Oh." I'm not getting any hits, you know, I'm not getting any, you know, nobody's listening to me, nobody cares, you know, what am I even bothered doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I found myself, I had a long conversation with my wife about it, and she's like, you got to push through, because she knows me, you know, I've been married to her for 32 years. Yeah. So she knows me. She's like, no, you're just going through one of those things. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, so I had to push through and to continue. And now we disappeared. Oh well, my logo disappeared, and it caused a distraction. So we're not going to worry about it. I'll put it back up somehow. And, so for people that struggle with their dreams, because I know people I talk about dreams a lot on the show. So to find out how to get to your dream or how to execute your dream, what would be some suggestions that you could put out there for someone that's maybe because I always tell people to dream bigger than them, because then you know God's working in your dream, you know. And so how would you expand for somebody to go, you know, how do I get to my next level in this thing that I have in my head?
Well, first, I think, you know, you just have to know where you're at, because everybody's at different spots in life. Some people may just start, you know, the journey of, hey, like, I know I'm created for more. There's other people who already know that they're created for more, but they don't know what to do from there. But I always tell people or give the advice of, you know, seek God, you know, seek the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added onto you. And when you go to, well, before I say that, it's just like a lot of people go externally. They want to go look at what other people are doing. Yeah. But one thing you got to understand is like, well, you're not every other person.
Oh, that's awesome.
Every person is unique, and God has created you for a specific purpose. And the problem is sometimes we can look at everybody else who may be doing something similar to what we're doing, and we can be like, oh, well, they're doing this or they're doing that. And it can discourage you, because now you're like, oh, well, that's them.
Yeah, or I can't seem to quite hit that level of that this person that I'm trying to model has.
Yeah.
Because I know I've run into that being, I was a pastor for a long time, and I worked in a church, and did a lot of that kind of stuff. And you tend to model people You know, even just naturally, you tend to model people.
Yeah.
So like, you know, so like I would model after, you know, my pastor, you know, and then go, and then in my own ministry time, I would go, well, why aren't I there yet? You know, so getting through that discouragement is not an easy task, you know, and I like what you said about seeking the kingdom, because if you're not seeking the kingdom, you're just doing it on your own anyway.
Yeah.
So can you follow up with that?
Yeah, and that's one thing that actually I struggled with a lot too. It's just something that my wife would tell me too. It's just when I would try to do something, she would tell me like, you're forcing it.
Okay.
And I would feel that like I'm trying to make something happen that shouldn't happen. And I would get so much resistance in terms of just like getting drained, not the creative energy and things like that. One, because I always ask God, I'm like, Lord, if this isn't your will, like I don't want it to be done. Like I want to do your will.
Right.
So I ask him for that. Like if it's not meant to be, like help me to realize that, because I don't always realize it right off the bat. You know.
Well, you know, if you get an idea in your head, I know this happens with me. I get an idea in my head and I just I start running, and then I totally will find myself off the path.
Yeah.
And then that's usually when discouragement comes, or that's usually when, you know, you hit the roadblock, because now you're just it's become a head thing and not a spirit thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So did I cut you off? I know
no. So yeah, like that's right, because it starts to become more about you, rather than the kingdom.
Okay.
Because don't get me wrong, like God wants to also bless us with either the tangible or the intangible things, but we can get so caught up on just wanting it for our glory and bring attention on us. And there's also nothing wrong with knowing, like, not like wanting that attention. Like, I know I'm supposed to be getting some type of attention, but there's like a healthy, meter for that.
There's a healthy place in between there, because in the process of making God famous, you get the credit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of because he's up here and we're doing his function on earth. So if you're getting, quote unquote, you're getting the credit for it, as long as we have that humbleness to say, hey, I give all my glory to God, there's that weird little in-between spot that we have to kind of get into to have the understanding of, I may get myself in the newspaper, you may get yourself in the newspaper. Anybody read newspapers anymore? I know. Well, I may get 1 million views on social media, but as long as there's an understanding that the underlying thing that got you there is God that took you there.
Yeah.
And you mentioned tangibles and intangibles. How does a broke person start to make some money in order to get their dream rolling?
Well, first, I would say, like someone who's just has a job, and is just broke. Yeah,
because the mentality is, or a big mentality is, well, I get paid whatever minimum wage is, and I have this dream that's beyond minimum wage. How am I supposed to get from here to there? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, first off, you have to master what you have, what God has already given you. So for me, graduating college and doing all that, it's like he taught me, like, I have to manage what I have now. So steward what I have right now.
Okay.
So if you're saying that you're broke, well, we have to examine, why are you broke?
Okay.
Like, are you overspending money that you shouldn't be? Are you spending more than what you have? Are you trying to impress other people? Do you have debts? Or, it's just identifying, okay, what exactly do you mean by broke? Because some people can say, like, they're broke, but they're making good money.
Right.
They're just overspending the money that they have, and they leave with nothing.
Because this is something I find when it comes to financial things is I make this much money, so I can do this much stuff. And then I get a raise. This is just saying in the way a business pays somebody.
Yeah.
Then I get a raise. Well, now I can have this much stuff. So instead of growing with yourself or creating budgets to stay underneath, you live always to the limit. No. So does that make sense?
Yeah. So, you don't want to live to the limit. You want to live underneath, by your means, underneath your means.
Yeah.
Okay. So, because if not, then you're always gonna, no matter how much increase you get, you're going to continue to be right underneath that.
Yeah. So I can afford a better car. Well, your car that you have now is okay. You know?
Yeah. Maybe it's not a good idea to go buy a new one, especially right now.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, it's funny because are you familiar with Dave Ramsey?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because Dave Ramsey says go buy a car cash. Don't make payments. You know, so you have to build up to that. You know, so if you're gonna go buy a car, why are you gonna make payments? Because by the time you're done making the payments on the car, it's worth less than it was anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and so he says things like that. You know, and that actually puts you to live within your means, because if you can only buy a $6,000 car, you shouldn't be buying a $28,000 car making payments on it.
Exactly.
You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, and another factor too that people don't consider, and I see this all the time, is just because you can, like how Dave Ramsey says, is like just because you can make the payments doesn't mean you can afford it.
Right.
Because there's also other things you have to factor in. The maintenance, you know, you're gonna have to change your tires, your brakes.
Yeah.
I don't know, if something breaks down on the car, something you have to fix it. Can you know,
or the finances there to keep that car moving in its place. And I think that's something that happens to us in life, is we think, well, I can. You know, and really it's not that we can't, it's that we have to figure out how to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, and it also comes with this discipline too. You know, like the instant gratification versus the delayed gratification. Is like many people, when we get like a raise and stuff, we want to go buy all these things, but it's just like, oh man, maybe you should wait a little bit. Build a cushion, or pay off some things that you need to pay off first, get rid of those that extra debt, so that way that money gets freed up and you can either invest it, save it, or even just also set up a small account where you can give to people, or know, of course, like tithing and stuff like that,
right.
Giving to your local church.
Well, because that would be, so if I just drew a blank, but I had something come out of my head there. That's okay. We'll leave this part in just because it's natural.
It happens.
When like you said, as we increase, we start to do stuff. I'll just give a little story. Is I lived check to check for years and years and years and years, and I had to get a new roof for my house just recently, and what was real nice about learning over time, because I'm a slow learner. I'm 50 plus years old, and I'm just learning how to steward my money. So I'm just really learning how to take care of things. But it was really nice to just go to Home Depot, write a check for the materials, and when the guys came to fix it, write a check for the cost, and not have any debt because I paid cash for everything. And because you're able to go, well, now my household makes this much money. We used to make this much money, so I can start putting this money away, and then I have a contingency fund to do that. And so when it comes to, this might be my thought process when it comes to, I just work for the man, and you can still save money if you learn how to take care of it properly, to steward it properly. So what would be some of the best ways to steward your money?
First, you have to also would say even just what is the purpose of money?
Okay.
What is your value on money? Because if what can happen is we can put money on the pedestal.
Absolutely.
And create it as an idol. Like how the Bible says you're either gonna serve God or serve mammon.
Right.
So I found it funny the other day, like how he didn't say like you're either gonna serve me or you're gonna serve the devil.
Right.
Like he said mammon.
Mammon specifically.
Because if you think about it, everywhere in the world, there's currency.
Yeah.
Money. If you don't have money, well, you're not gonna eat or own land or any of that stuff.
Right.
So it's just knowing that, having the shift in your mind to understand that, if you have $100 and you get dropped off somewhere in the Arctic, that $100 is going to be worthless. Right. It's going to be worthless. It's not going to help you there.
You're
other
than
make
to burn an igloo for free.
And it's knowing that money is just a tool.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not meant for something that because people use money for so many different things. People be like, oh, if you're rich, you're evil, or this and that.
Right.
Which isn't the case. I think like Hollywood and all those movies made, the rich guy like a jerk and super mean and this and that. But really, it's just like when we understand like it's all God's, then He's gonna teach us how to steward it also.
Yeah.
And it's getting that knowledge, the financial literacy to understand like, okay, like what is the purpose of this money, and having that purpose for the money, just how Dave would say, like, tell your money where to go.
Yeah.
If you're not telling it where to go, then it's just gonna run crazy. It's like, imagine having a flock of sheep. If you don't keep it herded,
yeah, they're all just gonna go wherever, and
you're gonna be left with nothing by the end of the week or something.
You can't even get a sweater.
Now you're broke again.
And now you're broke again.
Yeah,
because I think that's one of the hardest. We're not taught how to take care of money anymore. I grew up in an era where actually you could take a math class and learn how to balance a checkbook, and now nobody even knows what a checkbook is.
They didn't teach me that in school.
Yeah, so now you're left, unless your parents actually sit you down and teach you, and actually sit you down and teach you, and hey, this is how you write a check, this is how you do this is how you balance this is how you know how much money you have in the bank, this is how you know how much you have saved, this is how, and now we've reduced it all to an app. So the thought process is, I have money in my app, so I can go get my cheeseburger, and well, no, because this has to clear, this has to clear, this has to clear, all those bills you just paid out. And not everything comes out immediately still, and so if you're not keeping track of even just that, if you're not keeping track of what your finances are doing for you as compared to what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
And then learning that, I have a friend of mine that does the stock market, and he's really, really good at what he does. And, it doesn't even work anymore, so you kind of go, that means he told his money what to do, and how to do it. And I sit here, I have a budget. I put this much over here, put this much over here, and I'm still an envelope guy. If I save for something, I actually put cash in an envelope.
Yeah, that's good. If it helps you do that, it's just like, also sometimes I think people could be like, oh, well, where do I start? And it's, asking for help. I know at our church, our pastor, he has a free financial course where he helps you and educate us okay, this is what you should do with you, or not. I don't want to say what you should, this is what it is, but just educating you on hey, this is some good information, and it only works if you apply it.
Yeah.
If you're not applying it,
it does no good.
It does no good.
Yeah.
At all.
It's like people say, I have a budget. Well, that means I keep an eye on my app. And some people actually have a budget where they have a spreadsheet, and my money goes this place, this place, this place, this place. And then at the end of the month, I have this much, and then I put this much into savings. And, that's what a budget actually is. It's not.
Yeah. The more detailed it is, the better.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, and I know sometimes for some people, getting that detailed can be overwhelming. So a piece of advice that I would start with is just if you're dude, I just get overwhelmed with all these numbers and stuff like that. Either one, have somebody sit down with you and help you who is more organized and more structured, or just start I have this little budgeting plan where it's start general. Just okay, your food, your groceries, entertainment, as far as going out to eat and things like that. And it's just super simple where you can put how much, just something basic, so you can get a basic idea of, okay, this is where our money is, and then on the other one it starts to get more detailed as it goes down, and then you actually keep your receipts, and then filling out where everything goes, and then or you even on certain banks they have actually a place where it shows you all of your spendings and it categorizes it for you.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, okay. But no one ever looks at their bank account.
Yeah, they look at their total.
Yeah, that's all they look at, when the banks also sometimes give you those helpful tools that we don't even know are there. I didn't know it was there until I got on my laptop, and this was a couple years ago. I was like, this is cool. I didn't know they did that for you.
I have an Excel spreadsheet. But I had to learn the hard way, and because like I say, my dad told me he showed me how to write a check, and he showed me how to write it in the check register. So that's all I knew. I got married when I was 19 years old. My wife was 17, and we had a baby 6 months later. So I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
And now suddenly I had to pay rent. I had to buy groceries. I had to do everything. I had to do everything.
Yeah.
So we lived right to the tail end. of whatever literal penny we had, and then we learned to tithe.
Yeah.
That was actually our first step in financial breakthrough, was we learned to tithe. And when I say learn to tithe, because it doesn't come easy if you're quote unquote broke.
Yeah.
How important is the tithe in all of this stewardship?
Very important, because it's not yours at all.
Bink, that's it. That's very important.
Come back next week.
Right on.
And like I was saying earlier, like the mentality of, you understand that everything that we have is not ours.
Correct.
We're being stewards of what God has given us. And that, whether it can be, the tangibles, intangibles, our gifts, our talents, not talents like the money, but also the money, your job, if you have a specific job, God is, and it's not going like too deep, like, oh, like God is giving you everything. But he's giving you these abilities. It's, make sure that you're using them well, just like the parable with, the master and the three, servants.
They take the one buries it and does nothing.
Yeah,
one does a little bit.
He does
one
times
does,
2, and the other guy doubles it by 5.
Yeah.
And it's understanding and knowing, like, don't be lazy and just be like, well, God is gonna take care of everything, and then you just overspend everything. It's like, no, like He wants you to invest it, to save it, pay off your debts, make sure you're not owe anybody anything, and understand, like, because I've even heard this, I mean, I don't know, some people, how may they feel about this, but how, like, oh, give God his 10%. Right. And then we think sometimes, oh, the rest of the 90% is just all mine. No, it's still God's.
Yeah, it's still God's. Yeah, you still have
Steward
to
it well.
do something well with that 90%.
Yeah, and if that's, of course, like, keeping a roof over your head, feeding your family, making sure all your transportation, everything to get you to work, is paid for, and then understanding, like, okay, like, what is important to you, and this is where the vision of where do you want to be in 10, 15, 20 years, because your actions now, the decisions you make now, is going to determine where you will be within those 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Absolutely.
So you have to have that vision of, okay, what kind of lifestyle do I want to live? And being disciplined to know, like, okay, if that's the lifestyle I want to live, what is it going to take for me to live that in the future?
Right.
Because if you're just spending all your money and you expect to retire a millionaire,
yeah, you're definitely not
gonna. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
even if you win the lottery,
yeah,
a lot of those people still end up broke.
Yeah, it was because they don't know how to take care of what they've received.
Exactly.
And because when I learned to tithe, that was my first teaching in how to actually start managing my money. So, well, I'm gonna give 10% right out the gate.
Yeah,
and that caused me to go, okay, I'm gonna write this down. I write down my 10%. And then, well, this is what I have to live off of. And then my brain went, well, I've been living off of 100%. Well, how do I live off of 90? Well, I might want to see how much I spend on groceries.
Yeah.
I might want to see how much I spend on my car payment. I might want to see. So it actually taught me, the first time I started tithing, it taught me, because now it forced me to look at 90% and go, well, how do I do this well?
Yeah.
How do I use God's money well? And so that actually drove me to start creating budgets. Mm-hmm. And I mean, my budgetary, it sucked at the beginning. It was like food, but that's the reality, right? Food, car, house, Yeah. If I can make these 3 things, I'm good,
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's kind of, but the tithe is what actually started it. And then I started to see over time, because a lot of people think if I tithe right now, I'm going to get a blessing right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's 100% accurate.
No.
So it becomes a long-term, God is watching what you're doing. Yeah. He said, okay, you're tithing. And now we've come to the point where, yes, my wife got her degree. She went and did exactly what her dreams were, because we started to put things in order. So she got to go to school, get her degree. She's a sped ed teacher. Awesome. And that's what she wanted to do with her life. Mm. And like I say, when you get married young and you got no plan, you got no clue, you have an inkling, sometimes it takes a little longer to get where you want to go. It
doesn't happen overnight.
No, definitely. And so she got, so I helped her get in that place. And then she helped me get into the places that I needed to be in, and now financially we're in a place where now I don't have the best house on the world. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the greatest things, I think, is but it's paid off.
Yeah.
I don't owe anything on this.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, I don't owe anything on 2 of my cars. They're paid off. You know, so we're in a financial place. Now I'm taking care of some old credit that I screwed up a long time ago, but that's life. You know, so now we're in the process of cutting those things, taking them down, and in the process of that, we're learning I can still do my dream. You know, and this is what you're watching right now is, you know, the things that I have been able to attain because of learning how to take care of my finances have actually blessed me to get things that I didn't even have to pay for most of the equipment that you're working on right now.
Wow.
You know, so that's the way God functions in the tithe. And when you're stewarding his finances, he will turn around and bless you with the things required for your dream.
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, I you know, if how they say, you know, like God's will, God's bill. Yeah.
I'll be honest, that's the first time I've heard that.
Oh wow, really? What? Okay, so like, if God is calling you somewhere, trust and believe that He's going to get you there. Have the faith, no matter how bad things get or how good things get. I mean, just look at Joseph. He had this dream, and he got sold into slavery. He was in prison. But he also became like Pharaoh's right-hand man. And some people could be like, when they get put in a spot where they're like, God, like, where are you? I'm in this bad situation. Sometimes we've gotten ourselves in that situation. Other times it's like, no, like, just people made some decisions, but don't worry about it.
Yeah,
God is going to make it all work together for good because you love him, you trust him. And too many times it's like, we just get so like, oh God, you know, and we could get mad and offended at God because we think, well, God, you should have done this. Well, that's why you're not God.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's where trust and faith comes into. Hey, this is where we're at. I'm still believing. I'm still trusting you, and He will get you out of that. And I've seen that multiple times, especially with the tithing in our early stages of marriage. My wife and I, you know, there was times where I would like be hesitant to be like, God, you know, we're going to be late on rent or something, you know, like I have nothing. Like, what am I going to provide to my family? My wife and I won't have any kids, but just like, you know, what are we going to do? And then we would just get these super, like, just blessings of random people, either giving us money or grocery stores at our doorstep, at our apartment.
Wow.
And, you know, it's like how you saying, like, people expect, like, when you tithe, oh, where's my blessing? I need it right now. Or, you know, it doesn't work that way.
No, and that's when people look at it from that point of view, I don't think they're gonna get.
They're sabotaging themselves.
They're sabotaging their own tithe.
Yeah.
You know, you have to let God do His thing. He says, what is it, Malachi? He says that He will rebuke the devourer for your sake. Mm-hmm. Well, let Him rebuke the devourer for your sake. Don't block that.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
And when things start to, what you think is going awry, is usually when something's about to happen.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to stay steadfast in the things that God has, you know, has put inside of you, you know. And like I said, I found myself in places where I'm reaching a high level at something, and then I go, oh, I'm horrible at this. Dude, you made it this far.
Yeah, keep going.
You know, hello, you gotta get over this hump, you know.
Stop. Believe.
Right on. You know, so you gotta get over that thing. And usually that's that place where breakthrough's about to happen. Mm-hmm. That's that place where the dream's about to kick. And that's why you're in that. A lot of times God doesn't give you a bad thing, but you find yourself in a position where you're struggling.
Yeah.
And that's right about on the cusp of when things are about to break through. And actually, when you're following after and doing the things that God's told you to do, you just continue to do those things, and you'll start to see God do awesome stuff.
Yeah, don't abandon ship.
Yeah.
Don't abandon ship. When things get bad or seem worse, don't abandon ship.
Yeah.
Because like God, just know this, like we are going to get tested. We think we'll have trials and tribulations. Jesus tells us all that, you know, in this world you have trials and tribulations, but behold, you know, I have overcome the things of the world, right? And sometimes it's like we just forget about that. Like, dude, we're going to come across hardships. There are going to be things that happen unexpected.
Yeah.
You know, and it's still just have that trust, that faith in God, and He will take care of it. You know, because if not, we could be so easy to be like, oh well, God, you're this and that. I was like, what, dude? Relax, calm down, stay faithful to what He's calling you to do. Keep doing the things you're doing, keep doing what's right, and He will supply all of your needs. You will get out of this. It's only for a little time.
Yeah, and so it's only for a small moment.
Yeah.
And we make that moment bigger by turning around and saying, "Oh, God's fault."
Yeah.
And it's funny to see how many Christians will turn around and blame God for a situation that they're in. And I'm like, aren't you a believer?
Yeah.
You know,
maybe some of those decisions you made on your own.
Yeah, you know? And sometimes and then we do this. Well, it was the devil's fault. Well, not all battles are the devil's. You know,
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we go, I made a bad decision, and you know, I shouldn't have bought that Porsche. Yeah. You know, but you know what I mean. Sometimes we actually are the ones that, because He gave us free will. We will make bad decisions. Mm-hmm. And we can't put the blame on somebody else if it's our decision that we made. So if I'm on the verge of financial breakthrough and I go spend all my money at the casino, that's my fault. Mm-hmm. You know,
Hey, no one told you to put the $100 on number 5 red.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because we go, well, I could double this. You know, you've seen those movies. Well, if we take our, like, no. That's not going to happen. The reality is you're going to go in there, you're going to lose it all, you know, and then you're going to blame somebody else, you know, why you lost your house and your wife is crying in the corner, you know.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Where's the house? Well, about that.
Well, you know, we're going to live in the casino parking lot.
Yeah. Don't worry. I got a couple $100. We can try it again. No.
Yeah. And I know people that live like that, you know, and they're constantly in trouble. And I was one of those people. We're constantly on the verge, constantly on the edge, constantly, you know, I'm going to lose my house, I'm going to lose my car. And to get to a place where I just paid cash for a new roof, you know, I just, all my cars are paid off, still paying on the Harley, but, you know, like, I had to buy the Harley. That was a different story.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pay it off like 2 years early because the way I know we have the finances to pay it. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a bad decision. It was just one of those where I know I could make this payment, you know, and I know I could pay it off early, you know, because I could make a larger payment and still be able to. Have you ever found out what the cost is to maintain a Harley? It costs almost $200 to change the oil.
Oh wow!
If you take it to a dealer, so you have to know what you're getting into.
Yeah. And here's one thing, actually, now that you say it, you know, it's $200 to take it to the dealership, but God has given you an ability to learn. And if you have, you know, everything's functioning, you can change it yourself.
Oh yeah.
And it's learning those things also to help you save money in the back end. For instance, there was a buddy of mine, he would constantly go out to eat and he would complain that he's broke. I'm like, dude, how much money are you spending? You're spending like $30-$40 a day. He would get lunchtime at work and then dinner at night, fast food places. And I told him, I was like, dude, you can just go like cook, make something at home or something. He was like, oh, well, I don't know how to. I was like, well, you better learn. You better learn because you're just blowing your money. Yeah. And the stuff you're eating isn't the greatest. And then as he started, like, eventually he made that shift and he's been saving a whole lot more money and he's
amazing.
loving it better and he likes the food better.
Yeah, of course it tastes better because you cooked it.
Yeah.
You can season it to your taste.
No one to blame but you.
No one to blame but yourself. You know, and that's such a true statement because if you do the math and you go, because it's on average about $10 a meal.
Yeah.
Right? So even if you took that $10, that's what, $300 a month? If you ate one meal at fast food every day, so what? 10 times 30?
Yeah,
it's $300. I mean, that's $300 that you could put back in your pocket by cooking eggs.
Or or even if it was just like $50.
Yeah,
you know, It's the small things that really count, because you can go to, the gas station. Oh, bag of chips here, and then when you add it up, you're like, holy smokes, I'm spending that much? And this is for all my Starbucks people out there, or coffee. I'm going to come at you right now. If you're spending $4 to $5 a day, some people even get, the double shots, and it $8-10.
Yeah.
And it's like,
my coffee costs $7.
Yeah. I'm like, and I'm not saying stop drinking coffee, but maybe drink a little less.
Yeah.
Go twice a week.
Yeah.
3 times a week. Maybe make something at home. They have all these Keurigs and all these pods.
Yeah, you cut out Starbucks. If you buy Starbucks every day, twice a day, one in the morning and one on the way home from work. I think it's within 2 weeks you could buy your own cappuccino machine.
Yeah.
And then make your own. So it's
but it's just convenience too.
Yeah.
I want it now.
And I want it now. And that's kind of where we're at. So you just said it, discipline.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna close with this.
Yeah.
Discipline, just because you happen to just say that, discipline is with your finances, discipline in your goals, and discipline will get you to your dreams if you have discipline in all of those areas.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna do this. If you want to see your dreams come true, have discipline in your finances, have discipline in your goals, and you'll start to see big things happen. Yeah. Can you agree with that?
Absolutely. Because as you begin that self-discipline, you will start to get consistent at it. Because if you're not consistent, then you're always going to have that gap of it's not happening. But the more you can start to get consistent, then you will start to see more improvements in the long run. And just know that it's not results overnight. It's going to take some time to start to see those actions pay off.
Yeah.
A tree doesn't just grow overnight. It takes time.
Yeah, when you plant a seed, it's not a tree. Yeah. That's the simplicity of it. So if you're planning on doing something in your life, you have to know that it starts in stages. It has to go through these stages. You have to understand how to take care of your finances. You have to understand how to write things down. You have to understand how to do these things so that you have something to follow, so that you have something to go over. Blue said it really well, is, you have friends in place that'll help you out. If you know somebody, if you know a financial guy, go get a financial guy. If your dream is similar to somebody else's dream, communicate, find out how did you get started. I get a lot of questions outside. Well, what did you do to start your podcast? Well, I plugged stuff in, but that's a reality. I had to come to a place where I just had to actually start it. And I had some equipment lying around. I had to go buy some stuff. So I had to invest in it myself, and so we had to adjust budgets and things like that but we made the decision to do it. Yeah. My wife had to be part of that decision because we're financial partners, so we had to make that decision together. Is this something you want to do? Yes, this is something I want to do. We're going to do this. This is how we get the finances together to do this. And you plan out your goals, and then you'll start to see all that stuff happen, and all your finance and everything all meld into that. And we start to see great things happen when we do great things. And I believe God wants us to do great things.
He does.
And he wants to see us succeed, and exceed in our success, and he wants to see us do great things, because why? He gets the glory if you're following after him in the processes. So give us a good word to close out. Yeah.
So I've told myself this recently, and I continue to tell myself is, if there are these millionaires, billionaires, whatever, and they're not doing anything for the kingdom, well, why not that be me?
Yeah.
Why can't I be that person to have millions, to do things, to bless other people, to advance the kingdom? So why not me? But it all starts with making that decision to say, God, you know what? I'm tired of where I'm at. I want to be a blessing to other people and move your kingdom forward. But you have to make that decision, and God will help you. And also surrounding yourself with people who will also support you and help you, getting the right information, the right knowledge, and applying it, staying consistent at it, even when you don't feel like it. So that's it.
Yeah.
Right there. Why not you? Let's go find your purpose, live it out, and make a difference and make it happen.
Right on. Right on.